Hey everybody. So I've been sick for like a month, so I don't even know why I think I'm an adult enough to talk about this issue. Like literally, this is a fork. But so net neutrality, you're going to see a ton of things online, like text your congressman or like type this into whatever, and it's easy to like hit like and stuff and do it or maybe not do it or like read a script or send a fax, but net neutrality, it's so scary. And so I live in Philadelphia, and you can have one internet service provider, and I have them. And depending on like what neighborhood and like what boundaries you live in, whatever, you can maybe have Verizon. At my old house, which was, in a different neighborhood, it was like Verizon had just won some sort of legal battle to put service towers or whatever in our neighborhood. And I can tell you that internet was so much better. However, Verizon is pushing towards like a future without net neutrality, so forget that. Anyway, where I live, only Comcast. Philadelphia has two of the largest buildings in our skyline. The largest buildings are Comcast buildings. I hate my internet. I can see the difference between the videos like I'll upload on YouTube. The differences are, at my old house, I didn't pay for internet. I lived with my ex-boyfriend's parents who were professors, and, they ran a nonprofit. They needed fast internet and I guess like wrote it off or whatever. I pay for my own internet now. I have the smallest package, and it's one of my biggest utilities, other than my rent. I have the smallest package, and I have to turn off my TV, which is like Wi-Fi TV. I have to turn off the Wi-Fi on my phone if I'm going to upload a video. And traditionally, I leave my house when I'm uploading because it uses all of my Wi-Fi. And I've never done an apartment tour. I basically live in a studio that has a hallway. It's a really small space. And I pay so much for internet that, doesn't surprise me. It doesn't do anything for me. Obviously, I'm a heavy hitter. Being a YouTuber, I'm using the internet. I'm not just shopping online, browsing on my tablet. So I got a phone call from Verizon, and they were like, "Hey girl, hey." And I was like, "Hi." And they were like, "Hey, we're just doing a little survey, really trying to millennial me." And I was like, all right, I'll take a survey. I'm always wondering, if I have the cheapest package. Because, so when I got my apartment, Comcast is bundled with the electricity. So when I had the power turned on in my home, Comcast is affiliated with the electricity. So the electric company and Comcast, they're the same. So regardless of how crazy that already is, let me stay focused. So when they called, I didn't hang up. I wasn't like, don't give a fuck. I was like, yeah, I always want to make sure I do have the cheapest service. And if there's anything I can take in a survey to find that out, I will. So I'm listening, and she really tries to millennial me. She's like, what do you use your internet for most often? Are you streaming? Are you up to date with Game of Thrones? And I was like, oh, does HBO come with my package? And she was like, oh, no. Did you want to add HBO? And I was like, no. And she was like, oh, okay. So, do you stream? And I was like, yeah, I do use Netflix. And she was like, don't you hate when, you're watching Netflix and it's, totally lagging? And I was like, why would it be lagging? And she was like, well, if you ever experience lags, I would love to upgrade your package to, a higher speed. And I was like, so you're telling me that you know for a fact that the package I have currently experiences lag? I was like, wouldn't you rather fix that? And she was like, well, today I can offer you this package to guarantee that there's no more lag. And I can tell you, it wasn't $10 more than what I already pay. It was going to push my bill over $100 and came with nothing else other than a couple more numbers added to my account. And I said, like, I was like, I live alone, I support myself. Are you telling me that you willingly, like, sell me an inferior product, and now you're calling me on the phone to encourage me to basically double my bill so there's no more lag on my Netflix and I could stream Game of Thrones? And I wasn't trying to be an asshole. I used to be a telemarketer. I get it. And she was like, oh, do you want to talk to my boss? And I was like, no, I'm not mad at you. I'm just wondering what you're actually asking me. So with net neutrality, all I can really think is me in Philadelphia, in the neighborhood I live in, which you may only have Comcast. There is no other internet provider. Net neutrality is supposed to encourage business and encourage an even marketplace. But if I live in one of the biggest cities in America and there is literally only one internet service provider in my neighborhood because that service provider dominates my city, imagine more rural towns, you know? I dated a kid in high school who had dial-up in his mom lived in Maryland, and she had dial-up because their house was, like, in a very, very rural place. And she was like, I have no choice. My internet has to come through the phone line. So, obviously that's an extreme. I have the flu. I must go to the hospital. Imagine. So, if for any reason someone has convinced you that net neutrality should be dissolved, it's so unrealistic. I cannot add another subscription package to my lifestyle. I pay for the Netflix, I pay for the Hulu, I pay for the Adobe Premiere, pay for the phone bill. You know, I pay for Microsoft Word monthly. Like, who is robbing me right now? Any more subscription services, you know, this is going to be, such a huge failure. And I meet people still in 2017 who don't pay for internet because they're like, I just fucking can't. And they still, take their shit to the coffee shop and work there. Imagine if you had to pay $5 more to access your email. And there's images out there from, like, I think it's Portugal, who doesn't have net neutrality. Imagine paying $5 more to access Apple Music and then pay for Apple Music. $15 a month just so you can, like, swipe up an album real quick. I'm letting you know, I will cancel my Apple Music because I can't hang. It's like, this is going to create such a big shock and earthquake to the way we live. I'm going to go back to CDs. I really am. Because I can't handle, like, a couple more bucks on all the things I use. And, I think I'm in a position where I live, comfortably. So I can't imagine, like, even my subscribers. I know I'll lose some of you in this, because if you have to pay additional money to access YouTube, you won't. And it's not fair to make you choose between YouTube to, like, hang out with me and your faves versus, like, I don't know, taking your stuff to the laundromat. Like, we are being nickeled and dimed as a generation across the board. But I can tell you, like, paying $7 for Netflix, well, now it's $11, it was $7 in my prime. This and that, and still paying for the little things, like, I have no energy. I pay for coffee almost every other day. God forbid a luxury amongst all these services. It's like, oh, it's only $4 more a month to access your email at the speed of light. But then it's like, all right, well, it's only $5 for this and that, and oh, what else do I pay for a month? My big cartel shop, which is empty? Like, all these little bills that we don't realize are killing us. Net neutrality. I'm so scared. So do your research, think about it, consider it. Don't let anyone tell you that it's an even playing field, because, like I said, I live in one of the biggest cities in America, and I have access to one service provider, and they rob me every month. Anyway,